This is Chris with Dive Zone Scuba for another technical diving tips, techniques, and trips video. Hello divers, thanks for joining me today. In the last week or so, I've released video 136, Building a Better Plate and Wing Harness, and video 137, Part 2, Building a Better Plate and Wing Harness for doubles. Video 137 was actually released based on some of the things that I learned from video 136. I received some comments in video 136 that some viewers might not actually watch video 137. So I am now releasing video 138. So hopefully this will eliminate any confusion between videos 136 and 137, which will summarize the best technique to use regardless of plate geometry and or the use of single or double back-mounted tanks. The quest for a better harness system started out with the deformation of a tri-glide and the impending failure of the plate and wing harness system. Between that and the well-known problem of harness webbing wear when using the slots in the plate, I decided to consider alternative methods of mounting the webbing to the plate. The following video illustrates what I consider to be a better plate and wing harness system. The basic concept of this method is to directly bolt the harness webbing to the plate rather than weaving the harness through the slots in the plate. With this method, the first thing to do is to remove the various pieces of webbing from the harness. If you are attempting to convert a one-piece harness, this may involve some cutting of the webbing. So basically, you want to have a left and right waist strap section and a lower section for the shoulder straps on the left and the right side. In this case, I'm converting an adjustable and releasable harness system, so I have 4 pieces of the harness ready to be converted. The next step is to put a 3/8 inch spur grommet in each one of the 4 pieces that are going to be connected to the plate. In this process, it's very important that you use a spur grommet to achieve this process. This is what the I guess the male end of the grommet looks like, and this is what the female end of the grommet looks like, and you can see there are sharp teeth in it. So when this is pinned together, it is very robust, and in fact they're extremely difficult to take apart. So what we have here is we have each one of these pieces. This is one of the lower shoulder strap pieces, and on the back, because this is thinner webbing, because it has to go through the buckle here, I have doubled over the section of the webbing on there to make the thickness twice as thick as it would normally be. The waist belt part is made of much heavier material, so it's not necessary to fold that over when you do it. So just a single grommet, single thickness of webbing for the grommet is sufficient. When you do this, don't forget to burn the hole with a torch just to prevent any possible unraveling. Now that I've got my grommets installed on my lower shoulder webbing and also on my waist belt webbing, I can now attach those items to the plate. So in order to do this, you're going to need to have a socket head screw. I'm using 5/16 inch diameter. This one happens to be 5/8 of an inch long. And I'm going to use, for the bottom, I'm going to use a T-nut versus a nylon lock nut. So the reason for this is the difference in the thickness of these 2 different fasteners. If I use the nylon lock nut, what will possibly happen is, depending upon the geometry of my plate, my particular plate, and also if I'm using doubles, there's a possibility that this might bipod on the tank or on the bladder housing, the wing housing, and also possibly puncture the wing housing. So for this purpose, if you plan on using your rig, your plate and wing on both single and double tank setups, you need to use the T-nut, this one here. If you're only using a single tank and you're never going to use the double tanks, then you might use this. But we commonly go back and forth, particularly on trips between 1 and 2 tanks. So I'm going to use the T-nut, the stainless steel T-nut, to do this installation. All right, so we're going to start with this and go from there. All right, so what I'm going to do is take my 2 pieces of webbing, and I'm going to orient them correctly. And it's going to be installed like this, and I'm going to install this first, and I'm going to fold it over like that. This way we have some additional chafe protection. And I could put these, I could put this and the waist buckle in different slots, different holes in the plate, depending upon what a person's individual physiology is. That's up to you whether you want to use both of them in the same hole or in different holes. For today's video, because it's more complicated to do it both in the same hole, I'm going to do that. So when you put this on the plate, what you need to do is you need to make sure that this is on last. Because of the way the waist belt works, you want to have the shoulder strap on the top. So we're going to take our nut here and our T-nut, and I'm going to put some Loctite on it. And what this is going to do, it's going to help prevent it from coming undone. There's many threads down here, so the probability of that happening is very low, but we're just going to put some Loctite on there to prevent it from any possibility of it coming off. Because the T-nut does not have the nylon insert like the Nylock nut that helps prevent it from coming apart. So I'm going to put this on the back, and so the first thing I'm going to do is get my waist belt oriented correctly. And I'm going to stick it on top of there first, and then I'm going to take my lower shoulder strap and put it there, and I'm going to align up the whole thing here. I'm also going to use a washer here, and I'm not really using it as a washer, I'm using it as a spacer. And the idea behind that is that I do not want anything sticking out the back end of the T-nut, because that again could possibly present something sharp, so we're going to try to avoid doing anything like that. Alright, so at this point I'm ready to take my my T-driver and tighten this down. And one of the things you'll could experience is that once this starts to get tight, it will continue turning. And so there are 2 little holes in the back of the T-nut, here and here. So if you want to get this thing torqued down really tightly, what you can do is you can put a pair of needle nose pliers in there, like this, okay, and that will prevent it. You can hold that in there to prevent it from turning. Okay, so that's only if you want to get it really tight. Alright, so this is the basic installation of how this will fit. If you have other accessories, let's say you have different types of weight pouches, you can actually use weight pouches like this, and you can secure them with another hole in the rig. Okay, so you have lots of options with this approach, and you don't have a situation where your webbing can be worn by the 2 slots.
This is Chris with Dive Zone Scuba. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.